Thanks, guys. Eric Banks, regarding item 27, freedom camping. Welcome, Eric. You know the rules. So you've got 10 minutes, and that includes questions.
Thanks for seeing us at short notice. Eric Banks and Janice Beaumont. We live, this is in relation to the freedom camping report later this morning. We live on Marine Parade, opposite the ramp car park. Excuse me. The ramp car park. We were made aware on Tuesday evening that the council had come up with a temporary solution to the issue of freedom of campers, which originally or recently became an issue in Bereford Street, and ended up moving down to Waimari Beach, Broad Park area, and there were complaints there. And so what the solution that council staff have come up with is to direct them down to the ramp car park next to the surf club as a temporary measure. We're not overly happy that we weren't consulted beforehand, because we've lived there for a number of years, and obviously we have quite a few ideas of our own about how the area could be better managed. And the issues associated with freedom camping there have been around for quite a long time, particularly post-quakes. And we would have preferred to have had some discussion before this decision was made. We do support the general staff intention to come up with an overall plan for freedom camping in the city. But we believe that that should really have been undertaken or given a bit more thought before freedom campers were directed to another area, because it's really just transferring the same problems that you had at Bereford Street, the same problems that you've had at Broad Park, into another area. Our area, if you like, the ramp car park, has had problems over several years, and that's only going to increase. Some of the problems, we live directly opposite. We're in full view of the campers. The campers moved in last night. Straight away, there was a guy brushing his teeth, and although that doesn't sound too bad, he wasn't using wasn't trying to hide it, just spitting on the ground, that sort of thing. In the past, we've had issues with freedom campers just toileting themselves there, not bothering to use the toilet. The toilet's about 100 metres away. They're too lazy to go and use it, so children have to see what the result of that is. It's not very pleasant. Rubbish is always a problem there. The inadequate bins, and I understand there have been some additional bins put in closer to the toilets, but the number of bins in the main area, opposite our house, is probably still inadequate. There are a number of solutions that perhaps I could discuss with staff, but in terms of restricting the area and screening it perhaps, but we wouldn't want to see that become a permanent facility. I believe council should be providing facilities in other areas for freedom campers, and perhaps as a temporary solution rather than a public car park, it should be maybe in one of the council campgrounds, Spencer Park or South Brighton, for example, maybe an area of that. Why not? At least those that are designed to have campers in, they're set up for it. They're not immediately adjacent to residential areas, the screening, etc., none of which exist at Marine Parade. So as I say, I support the direction the council's taking in finding perhaps an overall management plan for dealing with freedom campers, but I would also support a freedom camping bylaw to give council staff a bit of extra teeth in terms of dealing with issues. And we would hate to see a temporary solution become permanent. Would you like to say a couple of things?
Yeah, thank you. I've been a resident and owner of the property that we're currently in since 1990, so I've seen it all. And one of the issues would be that if one gate is left open all night, that we may return to the 1990s, where we had significant problems with young motoring enthusiasts using it for all sorts of wrong things. I find that this area is one of the only places in Christchurch where people with mobility issues can actually go and enjoy a view of the sea. There's nowhere else that offers the same thing in Christchurch. And I know that at the time that we had issues with the car people, that many elderly people stopped coming down to eat their sandwiches and watch the sea because they felt intimidated. And when you get 20 people camping over the road with washing strung out, burners going, they're drinking, they've got micro parties that happen at night when they stick their speakers out on top of the vehicles. I find that a really intimidating sort of a scene for anybody, and that sort of, the people that are coming down just to use it for, a nice place to sit. So I don't think it's appropriate to use a car park for that sort of thing. There's health issues as well. There's defecation in the bushes. We have our children seeing people, just turning our way and urinating in the bushes. And, it's a 2-minute walk down to the toilet. So, and that's just some people spoiling it. The showers are used by many people then for actually washing in, so the shampoo and soap being used, and the drain goes straight to the sand. And then I see children the next day playing in that sand. So, I don't think that's very healthy. And there's the whole, I'm sure it's a liquor ban along Marine Parade. So does that include the car park? I haven't had time to actually look into that. But they are drinking up there. So, that's another issue that we have. And Eric said that, the waste area, the rubbish bins and things aren't really adequate. They're totally inadequate, and they always have been. They've never got it right up there. There's always stuff blowing out all over the place because the bins are not large enough for the capacity of the sort of events that are held down at the beach, whether it be surf carnivals or kite day or whatever. They never cut the mustard. But also, these people come from countries, these visitors, and we think it's lovely that they see New Brighton as a destination, a tourist destination, because many people in Christchurch don't. So we would love to have them there, but we'd like them to be better accommodated. And they're leaving, like 5, 10-litre plastic empty drink bottles, cardboard boxes this big. I've got a photo of it from last night. And these people come from countries where they do it properly and they recycle. So at least they're separating out their stuff and they're putting it in large boxes at the base of the rubbish bins. So until City Care come along and clean that up in the morning, that's a bit of an eyesore. So it's totally inadequate, the setting there for camping. And I don't believe that it should happen at all, even as a short-term thing.
Actual subject matter today on item 27, I'm assuming your preference is for a bylaw type approach to the whole issue.
Yes, a bylaw as well as an overall management plan.
Right. Okay.
Thank you for coming along and sharing all of this with us today. I'm interested in a couple of things. First of all, how long these freedom campers are staying for? Are they just there overnight and then moving on, or are they kind of taking up residence and establishing a de facto camping ground? And then the second question relates to interface with the council. Have you been calling the council, raising requests for service, discussing with staff about this? And do you think, for example, a freedom camping hotline might be a good way forward so that there's a clear channel for reporting any of the behaviours you're talking about where action could be taken into the council?
There are a range of freedom campers, people working there temporarily. There are homeless people, and there are people who are tripping around the country as tourists. So we've certainly had people camping there for over a week, 2 weeks. Young people who are working in the city, they set up it looks like a campground. It's washing lines. They take up car parks with seating and cooking facilities, etc., etc. Little party areas. So it's a whole range of people, and some of them do stay there for a long time, and some of them move out, come back again, others stay there all day. So it's a whole range. And we have reported on a few occasions, and certainly over a period of years, several occasions, we've reported issues, specific issues. Some of the less desirable ones we certainly have reported. And I think in the report it talks about monitoring officers. I think if they were able to continue and there was a dedicated person that we could report information to, because it does sometimes feel that issues do get lost. And I think really one of the main reasons for coming today is just to make you, as well as staff, aware of the issues there, that it's not just a better solution than having them in Broad Park or other areas. It's an ongoing issue, and we think we have some ideas going forward, working with staff to come up with a better solution. Just shunting them on with very few additional facilities, even in a temporary nature, is not a solution. Thank you.
Thanks. Thanks, Tita.
I wonder if, to be helpful to the people in the audience, if we might move on to, we're going to go into the community board stuff, because there are no petitions. Nope. In that case, we're going into the community boards, but I